So thank you everyone for participating in this game. I hope it was an energy booster and now everyone is all ready for the talk. So um, now for the most awaited and the highlight of today's session, I would like to welcome Father Arul to take over the stage. I'm sure you guys all must be knowing Father Arul. He's a very familiar face over here in church. But just for those of y'all who do not know Father Arul, Father Arul was the ex-spiritual director of YAM Dubai and is currently serving in Abu Dhabi. He has always been there for us youth as a support, a spiritual guider, and he's never failed to give us amazing insight. So, everyone, a reminder to you all, please keep your mics on mute during the session and keep your Bibles or notepads ready as it will be very informative and you will definitely have, and I'll guarantee you that you'll definitely have something to take home. So, over to you, Father Arul. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, Natasha, for your wonderful words, and you did a wonderful job of making them alive by these Kahoot games.
Thank you,
So
Father.
creative of you. Keep going, dear. You're doing a wonderful job. Good. So, my dear friends, hope you all doing good, and nice to meet you again through Zoom. And thanks to Corona that locked me down, so we can meet quite often on the Zoom. And I hope you are all safe and sound. Take care of yourself, and God bless you. So today my talk is going to be it's on sanitizing your brain. We got so much sanitizing our palms; they have become white and fair. So it's the talk is about sanitizing your brain. So my dear friends, it's about healing the past in simple words. Why? Because certain mind virus is more powerful than the virus outside. These days, I'm giving Zoom counseling or talking to people who are affected by COVID, and I'm helping them as well psychologically. And one of our parishioners got into this COVID, and he was down in drums, and he felt lonely when his family is not here. And the first thing that he remembered is to call the church. So that's how the connections came to me. And I started speaking to him, for about 2-3 times we spoke. And he let all his fears. And after some time, he himself said, before when I took medicine with fear and anxiety, it seemed not working at all. When I'm confident now, when I take this medicine, it works better. That's how I feel. And today he sent me a message that he's out of it and is very happy to get out of it. Yeah. Your brain plays a vital role in everything. That can be of healing your body, healing of your mind. Your mind is very, very important. And that's how today we are going to meditate or discuss a little more on how to heal our brain. The Lord builds up Jerusalem. It is God who gathers his people. If he loves, somehow he gathers them together. Come what may, whatever the struggle it may be, whatever the trouble is people go through, God comes down again to gather people again. So we are going to gather very soon in the churches. Yeah. Well, amidst all this, things will change, we hope. So whom the world considered as the outcasts, the slaves, he healed their broken heart. He bound their wounds, brought them back to the promised land. Whatever the wound that you may have, my dear friends, whatever the worst of problem or struggle that you are in with, don't think that is unhealable or finished, that's gone. Don't develop any of those thoughts. The Lord will fight for you. Right, let me explain. There are three things that's happening to your brain. Anything traumatic that is happening, anything very traumatic that is happening, we take in any one of these three positions. And that too, if those wounds of the past, what we consider it something that happened in our childhood, if that's where the wounds, most wounds are, you need to check in which of these positions that you took in or developed or inside of you, you inculcated it. Any traumatic, any wounding experience that happens, either we take to flight, we try to escape, flee, or we try to fight it back, or we get frozen. For instance, I can tell you, um, uh, with a lady, we were working in counseling for a long time. She was part of our case study process, yeah, where she agrees that her case to be studied, and then she gives the permission to share and to study well further. So that's how I can share the story with you. She always had trouble in any relationship, any romantic or intimate relationship she develops ends up in failure. And she has a big list of people whom she encountered, and she still has not come up with somebody whom she can live with. And that's where she ended up in therapy, because somewhere things goes wrong, or she herself feels when she's in one relationship, she develops the other, and then it goes on, the list goes on, or people get to know, and then relationship breaks, and then we began to explore. There, we found, as a small girl, she didn't have a healthy bonding. Like, she felt being neglected, and there was no love and care given within the family structure. Second, her own uncle began abusing her sexually for a long time. So she says she couldn't fight it back, she couldn't escape, she couldn't tell it, back to parents, because their love and care is not there. She never felt that they are caring for her. Whom to tell? All these wounds got frozen inside of her. These frozen wounds comes up once you become an adolescent, and then you are a young adult stage. That's where your brain begins to take up all suppressed frozen material up. Most often, my dear friends, we are not aware of it. That is the issue. That's why we are thinking, why I'm praying so much, I'm going to the retreat, and then I read Bible, I pray every day. Why God can't heal my wounds, or what? I'm giving up, I'm getting fed up. And that's why we even question the existence of God. Why it's not happening? My dear friends, most often you need to check which of these positions that you are taken it in. And it is good to go from there. Why? Any of these positions fixated in you, it can be even fight or flight, fixated in you, it is a sort of infection. If your wound gets infected, the bacteria gets multiplied. Once you have not addressed to the wound, you have not opened your wound. Yeah, I was, as a small boy, I'm interested in the hospital and medical and medicines, things like that. I'm very keen to get to know. So my father was working in the hospital, so I used to go and help to be with him. I've seen one, one old man coming to the doctor and then opening up his wound somewhere in the thigh region. My God, fully infected, terrible smell. And he thought he can cure it by himself. He tried all his methods, nothing worked out. Finally, it brought him down. He became weak, he couldn't go to work, and that's where he ended up in the hospital. Most often we feel, what will others think? Second, we don't even know the intensity of the wound. We think, I can manage what in life I can, I have come across so many things I can manage. So if you do not address your wounds very early, even if it is of emotional, it is getting infected. Emotional infection is worse than physical infection. Emotional infection is contagious sometimes. That's why if mommy goes through certain pain, certain emotional stress, automatically it gets passed on to the child. The trouble or the worry, even without she uttering through words, sometimes these worries and troubles unconsciously gets passed on. So my dear friends, we need to stop infections. We need to stop emotional infections. That's why it starts with sanitizing our brain. Why? Most of it's all stored in our brain. So as we sanitize our palms, we need to sanitize our brain and wash it clean. Otherwise, this is septicemia happens. Slowly, the infection mixes with the blood. If it is not treated, it mixes with the blood. Once if the bacteria mixes with the blood, it is fatal. And that's where for some people get the thoughts of suicide. If those emotional wounds are not treated well, if that infection goes very high, they take up suicide. That's what Judas Iscariot did. He didn't open up the wound. Peter opened up the wound. He said, "Oh my God, I denied him. What a sinner am I." He wept. He opened up. He confessed his sins. So, opening the wound, treating it is very, very important. Otherwise, it mixes with your blood. It even creates emotional sepsis. So, emotional sepsis is the numbness. That's where most people, they don't want to come to the light. They like to be in the darkness. They don't want to relate. They won't talk. So your functionality gets affected. You become dysfunctional. If physical sepsis happens, one by one, your organs will be failure. If the emotional sepsis happens, one by one, your relationships outside the world will be cut. You don't want to talk with anybody. If people who are of a fighting nature, they will always see other possibility of taking revenge. The attitude of revenge will be too much in them. Flighting nature, they will escape. Right? Let me run away. If this is problem, run away. This is problem, run away. Run away. How long to run? The septic grows very high. Emotional sepsis grows high. Finally, they get locked up. They lock themselves up. So see which one of these you are fixated with. And this is the time where if the emotional sepsis happens, pleasure orientation will be more high. Any sort of pleasure will be very nice to the brain. Come on, let's try it out. Drug for a while, wow. It makes me to forget that emotional sepsis. Or something pleasurable, sexual activity that gives me pleasure for a while, it is a sort of a pleasure that keeps my emotional sepsis covered. So any sort of extreme pleasure orientation, pleasure is important, but extreme breaking morality, pleasure orientation will, instead of healing, will kill you. How? If the septic is there in your body, if you have a glucose more in your body, if you are diabetic, the wound doesn't heal. Something sweet we think is healing, but something sweet is not healing, it is killing. So my dear friends, anything that you create excessive pleasure thinking or without dealing the emotional sepsis kills you. We need you. Each one of you is very important. Why I share all this, it can be easily worked out when you open up your heart. At the most, the person with whom you are sharing, what you can, but you need to share with somebody who can process your wound properly. They should not increase your sepsis. So choose somebody who can heal, who knows how to heal in a proper way. So, my dear friends, and that's how in Jeremiah chapter 3, verses 22, God is inviting everyone, hey, return. I can heal your wounds. So, I'm your Lord and God. I can heal your wounds. Come back to me. Why? Research clearly tells you, my friends, spirituality can help much more better. I'll come when. When is the question? Right. Please, if you have pen and paper, answer this question for yourself. You're not going to share with anybody. What is the effect of childhood emotional wounds on your life today? Is there anything from your childhood that is affecting you even today? Any one of those flight, fight, freeze responses that you took up? Maybe that can be dysfunctional family system, or certain abuses, or certain wounds that you are carrying even now. Neglect, physical abuse, verbal abuse, any of those, even if it is carrying even now, when you think of it, is painful. Or for some of us who have made it to frozen, if it is a freeze method, if your brain took up to, right now you may not even know what the cause is, but your behavior will be affecting people around you, or it will be affecting you. You yourself emotionally get locked up. Those people need talking. You need to talk and find out what is the root cause. Yeah. So if some of you have certain things to work on, or if you are very aware, the moment question appeared that where some lists, some things came to you, maybe put them into writing. That will help you to work further. Right. I'm going to share about Sarah Montana. Sarah Montana is that girl who's in red near the Jews. Um, she's the one. When she was 22, I think this picture was taken. It's her family picture. And to tell you, she and her brother, extreme left or right. For me, it is left, is it? Yeah. For me, it is right. Okay. I don't know how it appears. So it was in a black T-shirt. So is our brother, dad, and mom. And you know, she was so attached to mom. And the brother had a friend who used to come home, and he was a little naughty boy. And one day, as he was doing something, and then they used to correct him for certain behaviors that he does, just because his brother's friend, they were tolerating him. And one day, Sarah, Montana, and dad weren't at home. Mommy and uh, our brother were at home. This man that's at the top of the picture, at the top, is his friend. So he entered home and he was trying to steal something from home. As he was trying to steal, his brother, sort of stopped him and a little assertive and told him, "Don't do that." This boy took a gun and shot him then and there. On hearing the gunshot, Mummy hurried from the kitchen asking what happened. He shot her as well. He took his coat and went away. And this is a traumatic experience for her. She's 22, and she was dependent on mom for certain emotional support, and she was so close with mom. And even with brother, pretty close. And it's a very close-knit family. She felt orphaned. She was in her university studies. How is she going to continue? And the painful memories deep inside. And all of this, along with the anger towards this guy, place yourself in her shoes and see how painful it would be. As a girl, She went through all this all alone, battling it deep inside. And it was troubling her. But she kept saying, she went to church, and everywhere in the church, they keep telling her, hey, forgiveness is most important. Is that possible? At that moment. And they kept saying, in the Bible, there are 565 times about forgiveness being said, and they counted all the number of times. It's said, but how to forgive, she didn't know. And just for the sake of, outward, I forgive him. Just to give, speak to the television when they come and interview. She said, I'm forgiving him. I've forgiven him. But deep inside, she is fuming with anger. And she could notice in her behaviors with her friends in the university. She couldn't, keep up any longer friendships, or she was very quick to hurt people. And she had a boyfriend, and that relationship grew up. Maybe that man was extremely good, and he understood her. And she got married, had a child. And this wound began to come up all the more very heavily. And it was affecting her husband and her child as well. That's where she grew, became aware. And she says, if you do not know what happened to you, you do not know what you want to do to heal your wounds. And you never know what you want to heal. So she began to accept, yes, I am not forgiven him yet. So the best way of healing your past is owning. She, by her experiences, everybody has an experience. I have a different kind of experience, and she has a different kind of experience. So in her experience, she says, unless you own it, you cannot heal it. That's 100% true. Agree. Because you know where the infection is, where the wound is, so that you can sanitize. So it's better to own. Please, my dear friends, if you want to heal your past of what had happened in the past, and if it's still troubling you, the infection is growing, and it is growing to be a sepsis. Why? It's not going to affect only you. The moment you create a family, if you are already in a family, this sepsis will spread all through. And that's where one getting angry, if you notice in a family, if one person getting angry, it will slowly spread to everybody. Why you are saying, and then 2, 3 will join up, and the whole family will be in the noise. Some rap song is going on, everybody will be at the top of their voice. She did this. Right now, choosing myself is more important than to be right. She kept on asking herself whether what he did is right or wrong. He did something wrong, so I am right. He is wrong, wrong, wrong. Slowly one day, as she was praying, she got a thought deep inside of her. Hey, did he kill me? Then what should I forgive? He didn't kill me. What should I forgive? Whom the exact people to forgive is my mother and brother. They're no more. They're with God. Now, what I should forgive? That question made her to accept what really she has to forgive. What? She missing her mom and her brother. She lost her motherly love. She was left orphan. She wasn't even married. So mommy could not be present for her marriage. Mommy could not be a grandma to her child. So I need to forgive all this. She put down, listed it one by one. To heal herself, she listed it, all of them one by one. My dear friends, it might look very silly or for some of you, but this is healing. If you really want to heal yourself, this has to happen, otherwise no other way. I mean, it differs from the intensity of wound to wound, so I can't generalize it, but this is a healthy process to do it. Once she had done that, she chose herself to be more important than to know what is right and wrong. So she began to minimize the issue. The problem for him is that day, that minute, somewhere he did. Maybe he's a good man. Maybe that minute, I don't know, he went crazy at that moment. So why should I? Only that moment he was crazy. I have been crazy for all through 7 or 10 years after this event had happened. So imagine somewhere wound has happened, we are still carrying it, infecting it, making it sepsis. So her potency, she started maximizing her potency to heal herself. She made herself bigger than the problem. She began writing a letter. I would never forgive you. It's never can happen because such a thing happened. But at the same time, today I choose myself over them, choosing or judging you as right or wrong. I am most important. And so I forgive you. It is left to God to forgive you. And she wrote a beautiful letter. And she took that letter from the church. She walked to the post box and posted it. She says, that moment when she literally sat and wrote it, and when she got up, she felt much lighter. Because when you write, your hand doesn't write, your brain writes. So your brain processes all the sepsis and removes. All the sepsis gets removed when you write, and that's how by your handwriting I'll be able to find out your personality. So your brain personality gets revealed through your hand. My dear friends, if you can sit down, put down what all that you want to heal. If you can write it like a letter, the intensity of wound, the pain that you are going through, if you are able to put it into writing and express it, surely you will get out of it. Otherwise, please don't allow this emotional sepsis to grow. This world is a beautiful place for all of us to love and to cherish our relationship and to enjoy. And we are wasting our time by holding on to something in the past. So, my dear friends, be ready to let it all go and to pull up your sleeves to see the wounds. Open up. So far, it's been covered. Open up. Dare to face it. And that is the path to heal yourself. Because unless we own it, healing doesn't come. That's why, Lord, if you choose, you can make me clean. I need to own it. Yes, I have wounds. I'm unclean. I'm a leper. My emotional sepsis is deep inside. If you choose, please make me clean. The moment you own it, you'll be able to get out of it. Hi friends, do you know this guy? Have you seen this guy anywhere? Oh, anybody can unmute and tell me, have you seen him? Is he an actor? Yeah. So Expandable is acted in it. He also shares about his life. And Dolph says that his father used to abuse him physically very much. And those abuses made him to run away, and he wanted to run away from home. And he was creating all sorts of problems when he became a teenager and adolescent age because of those wounds deep inside. Because he made all these wounds frozen in his mind. Because of that, he was very, very adamant. He wasn't able to study. He was not able to concentrate. So his parents made a decision to send him to his grandparents' house. So he went and studied there. Because his grandparents were very caring, somewhere these wounds did not show up much. But he studied so that he might go up to another place, another country, move to another state, so that he will be, able to form his future. He did all that. But these wounds deep inside was making him to feel he should have a big body to fight back. Why? So far the wounds are frozen. I need my body. So he became a bodybuilder. And he went up. He went up to another city to study engineering. He couldn't complete it. All his misbehavior, trying out all unwanted stuffs. I told you, emotional sepsis will tempt you to all sorts of pleasures, because those frozen wound deep inside of him, he never addressed it. So what happened? He went into all sorts of pleasure. Instead of studying, he became a bouncer in a bar. And from there, one famous pop singer picked him up, and they began to have a relationship. Like, he became a bodyguard for her, and even that did not last long. Anywhere he got into relationship, he couldn't manage. He even had daughters in one marriage, and he couldn't be with them. And he came out. He got into another relationship, everywhere an issue. He had money, anything that he wanted, he achieved all that he wanted, but finally he wasn't happy because he did not heal that emotional sepsis. My dear friends, he says, the moment he began to accepting it, owning it, he went to therapy, speaking it out. He did the therapeutic process step by step. He says that transformed him. He becomes, a witness of how he healed his past and the wounds of the past by processing his brain. My dear friends, once the wound, the bacteria is arrested, the water's, gathering that's there in the wound is sucked out, and they will give you antibiotic. This all a healing process. Once all that is done, because all this is your initiative, you need to do. And what God does, what spirituality does, is skin grafting. He closes the wound forever. So the scar may be there, but it can no longer pain you. I'm speaking out of experience. It can no longer pain you. You'll be able to address, or you'll be able to live your life wonderfully well. You will be able to guide others. So that the skin grafting is your healthy spirituality. And that will make you to abstain from all these wounds, those thoughts again and again. You will be able to abstain it. If you are able to abstain it 14 months, even of a methamphetamine, a recreational drug, even that creates a healing. After that, there is no temptation to fall back, it seems. Same way, the emotional abscess, if you are able to abstain from it longer by healing and getting into deeper spirituality, as skin grafting is done beautifully, you will feel freedom. You will enjoy life because your brain is sanitized. And whatever the wound comes in, you know how to fight it back, how to keep it, protect yourself, how to keep yourself healthy. So, my dear friends, shall we wind up with a small prayer and a meditative exercise? If you have written down in your paper, there are certain wounds that you want to heal. Maybe you can join along this exercise. Maybe it can help you to begin the journey of healing. May I request you all to close your eyes? And just relax your whole body, and whatever the thought that comes in right now, just relax yourself. And become aware of certain wounds that are still there deep inside of you. Unless you know the wounds, it is very difficult to heal. So remember some of those wounds that's all troubling you. Make an internal decision to heal it.
I realize the words you hear.
You are precious than to judge what is right and wrong. Right now, you are precious. Whatever the persons or the incidences that might be troubling you, right now you are most important. Own your emotional sepsis, infection. Make a decision to heal them either by writing it out or by speaking it out or by through healthy therapies. If God is with you, nothing can be against you. The initiative has to come from you. Today you make a decision to work on your wounds. The more you work on it, process it, and abstain from those wounds, healing becomes a beautiful one that's achievable. And God does the grafting. With open arms, Jesus welcomes you to this process of healing, to sanitize your brain, to experience His grace. Not a loving Father. As we are celebrating the Pentecost this weekend, let your Holy Spirit fill the minds of the people, the young hearts who are listening to you today. You know their pain, Lord. Certain struggles, addictions, the brokenness that they want to heal and to get out of it. You know their inner struggles, Lord. Touch and heal them. Give them the confidence. Give them the courage that they may be able to face the wound. They will dare to trust. By opening up the wound, they are going to heal it all the more. Let them have that awareness by speaking at all or speaking about it. They are healing themselves. You have created every one of us precious, Lord. Thank you for this. Thank you for this beautiful time. You know each one's tears and what's going on deep in their heart. Unexpressible sorrows, brokenness, pain, loneliness. If you are with them, nothing can be against them. Today they have decided to create happiness around them. Give them the confidence that they may be able to fight back. And they will be able to guide many more people. They will be able to share their life to others, to give witness, to heal the world. We make our prayer through our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, one God, forever, ever. Amen. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
May the Almighty God bless you all, my dear friends, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father, so much for your words of wisdom and enriching session.
Thank you.
I'm sure everyone must be having some questions or the other to ask Father Arul. Without taking much further time, please put them over in the chat window and Father will answer them. Yes. Anyone has any questions, feel free to put it on the chat window.
If anyone has any question that you would like to ask personally to Father, or would like to voice it out also, you're open, as we have unmuted the mics. If you do not want to disclose your name, you can either message Natasha privately or to me, and we can put it across to Father. Or if you want to voice it out, you're free to voice out any questions. We just have 10 minutes for any questions before we end the session today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I think there's no questions and everyone has had an awesome talk and we've taken a lot of things to reflect today. And of course, we have to start a writing pad to write down a lot of things, many things that are in the past that we have to write. And that's a homework that Father Arul has given each one of us. So we will look forward for that, Father, definitely. And then we will ping you whenever we require any assistance. And thank you, Father, so much for your time and giving us talk
Thank you.
today.
Thank you,
And
dear.
we are looking forward to to see you again soon. Over to Natasha.